We are live. It's just me and Chuck so far. So,
well, I should put my sunglasses on so people know how cool we are. Right?
I like it.
There we go.
I can get mine too. I took the kids to the 4th of July fireworks a couple weeks ago. They have them in mid-July here because this is kind of a bedroom community, so everybody travels, and so the 4th of July, everyone's out of town. But yeah, I always wear my sunglasses at the fireworks display because it just gets so bright. But
yeah, here we have a holiday, a state holiday at the end of the month. So we get fireworks twice, on the 4th and on the 24th.
Nice. You can't have too many fireworks.
Yep, it's fun. So we get together and we light them off. And the state legislature legalized the fireworks that go up in the air now. So
okay.
They used to be illegal when I was a kid, but not anymore. People would just go to Wyoming and pick them up and then light them off here anyway.
Yeah.
And I think that's what convinced them, was that they weren't causing any fires like they were worried about, and they were like, we may as well get the tax revenue from selling them here. So
yeah, I think they're still illegal in Pennsylvania. At least there used to be like stores that were right across the Ohio border like that. It was like literally like 100 feet inside the state line.
Yep, same deal here. So yeah, people would drive over to what's the name of that town in Wyoming? It's right by Jackson Hole. Anyway, yeah, so people would, they'd get across the state line and there would be a big stand right there full of fireworks.
So how was your weekend?
Bannon said, "Welcome, Utah." Oh my gosh, don't ask. Okay, I'll tell you.
Where are you, first of all? Are you at home? Like you're just at a coffee shop?
So that's part of the deal.
Okay.
I'm at the coffee shop.
Okay.
So Murphy is not allowed to make any of the rules anymore. So I got some sponsorships in, and it was enough to cover all the business expenses. I hope that the music's not too loud.
It's not too bad. It's a little bit annoying, but not too bad.
Yeah. But anyway, so I've paid all the business expenses, but there really wasn't a whole lot left over for personal stuff, So I paid the mortgage and stuff like that, and then anyway, then our air conditioning broke. Now it works. We have two floors, and we have two air conditioners, and so it works downstairs, but it doesn't work upstairs. But my office is upstairs.
Are these window units or just?
No.
Okay.
No, we have two units outside and two air handlers. And,
okay.
Yeah, we have a 3,400 square foot house. So.
Okay.
So anyway. So it's freaking hot upstairs because it's been getting into the 95, 96 degrees, right?
Yeah.
And so the only way you can cool it off is if you get the breeze going. So anyway, I couldn't work there. So I came over here yesterday, and anyway, I was thinking, okay, well, my father-in-law can fix that kind of thing. So but he can't come till next week.
Okay.
And we don't have the money to pay somebody to come fix it because we don't have anything extra. And then, so then I drove over here to the coffee shop yesterday, and when I was pulling out to go to the board meeting for the school, my truck got a flat.
So this is starting to sound like a country song, Chuck.
Yeah, so my wife comes and picks me up, drives me over to the school, and nobody's there for the board meeting. So after all the crap that I went through to get to the board meeting, nobody's there. Oh, we all thought it was next week. I'm like, well, if it's not in the board minutes, it didn't happen. And in the board minutes, it says first Thursday of the month. Oh, well, can we do it next week? Yeah, jerks. So another thing that happened this week was that I got a call from my doctor, and he said, hey, we tried to bill your insurance, and they declined your claim.
Oh, no.
And so I'm like, okay, what's going on here? So I call the insurance company, and they go, oh, well, we haven't been able to collect premiums from you for the last 2 months.
What?
And so, you know, we're dropping your insurance. And I said, well, I was like, if I had known, I would have figured it out. You know, but it's a little hard now because now it's almost $3,000 to pay all the premiums they want me to pay.
Oh, man.
And so they're like, okay, well, we're only going to do this once, but you have 3 days to pay us 3 months premiums. And I just looked at them and I was like, I don't think that's going to happen. So we won't have health insurance for a while, I guess.
Oh, my goodness.
And so it's just, I mean, it's one thing after the other after the other. And the funny thing is that, you know, with all this stuff, I've just been, you know, I'm racking my brain trying to figure out what to do about it. But I don't really have a good way to get money into my bank account in 2 days.
Yeah.
Right? Because it takes 2 days for me to get money from Stripe. So when they told me I had 3 days, I pretty much would have had to sell $3,000 worth of something that day.
Right.
And so, anyway,
Hmm.
I'm just going to control my diabetes with the keto diet. See if my doctor will take cash. See if I can negotiate on my prescriptions, and go from there. And hope I don't have anything major happen.
Yikes.
So yeah, I mean, at this point, given where Obamacare has left us and everything else, and you know, I have people saying, "Well, it's helping some people." Well, I don't care anymore. You know,
Yeah.
it's helping some people get the bunions taken care of on their feet. And I'm a freaking diabetic, and you know,
Right.
my issues are a little more serious than that. Anyway, but yeah, at this point, it's like, look, it's doing some bad stuff for me. So
Wow.
I don't know. So yeah, so it's been kind of a terrible week. The funny thing is like I'm not super discouraged. You think after all this, I'd be like,
you know, it's funny how that happens sometimes. Yeah, I know what you mean. Sometimes it's like it's so bad, all you can do is like smile and laugh.
Well, it's kind of that, and then I'm just mostly just pissed off, and it's like, you know what, this sucks, but I can beat this.
Yep.
And I did a deal with Microsoft, so we're doing an extra episode for them, and they're paying me for that. And that would actually alleviate a lot of this stuff, what they're paying for that. But they're Microsoft, so they don't pay quickly.
Right.
And then the other thing is that I'm not actually an approved vendor. So what they're doing is they're paying Carl Franklin, and then Carl is paying me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And apparently we're avoiding a bunch of paperwork that way.
Okay.
But, you know, given the way that all of this has been going, I kind of want to just be an approved vendor.
Right.
So the guy that's arranged all of the podcast travel and all of that stuff, I've had somebody doing outreach on LinkedIn. I finally got that figured out. I can talk to you about that in a minute if you want. But yeah, I don't have to go through and click all the connect buttons anymore. But anyway, so I reached out to a bunch of people. I had Shandy doing it, but I actually let Shandy go because I'm like, look, I'm not going to string you along if I don't know if I can pay you regularly.
Right.
So I was like, you know, when I feel like I need you, I'll come back. But there's probably going to be a few months. Anyway, so yeah, that sucked too, but that was a couple weeks ago. Anyway, so anyway, somebody on his team, this guy at Microsoft, somebody on his team got hit with one of those requests, and so she forwarded it to him, and he's like, hey, don't reach out to anybody, you know, on my team at Microsoft, you know, don't reach out to this person. I'm like, hey, look, you know, this is the system I'm working. I was like, if I hit anybody on your team, you know, just tell them, look, I know him, I'm dealing with him, great. But he's on the Azure marketing team, and I got introduced via email by somebody else to somebody on the Visual Studio Team Services team. marketing
Oh,
team.
okay. Okay.
And so I've been talking to her. I actually made it a point to walk over to that part of because Microsoft had a bunch of booths at Build.
Okay.
And so I went over there and I talked to her at their booth for Visual Studio Team Services. And it sounds like they're interested in doing a traditional sponsorship of the show.
Oh, sweet.
So we kind of lined things up. I'm talking to her in 2 weeks. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all goes. But yeah, I'm hoping to get authorized as a vendor so we can just make that happen. And then IBM, they're being dorks. I've been trying to get paid by them for 2 months. So I have a sponsor, Compose, that sponsored Ruby Rogues for a while. And they do like cloud-hosted databases like Redis and Mongo and stuff like that. Okay. If you used, what was it, MongoHQ.net or something like that with Heroku, they rebranded to Compose. And then IBM bought them. And so they switched everything over to IBM's marketing company. And anyway, so they've asked me the same questions, I think, 3 times now. And I've sent them the same information 3 times.
Oh, nice.
And anyway, so I just keep getting passed around, and I'm just like, guys, if you want the sponsorship to run, you got to pay me. So, and they're asking for like geographic targeting. And
oh, good grief! You can't do that with a podcast. That's impossible.
That's what I told them. I said, look, I'd either have to have multiple feeds or multiple versions of the audio files. I said neither of those are going to happen.
All right. Can you even do that in iTunes? Like, can you have regional feeds?
Possibly, because they have different iTunes stores for the different countries.
Yeah.
But when I think when you submit a podcast, I think you submit it to iTunes. I don't think you submit it. I think their podcast directory is separate. So I don't think you can. I think if they find out your podcast is in a particular language, then they'll promote it to that country's thing. But anyway, but yeah, I just told them, I was like, look, there's really not a good way to do this. And I also said, and it's not worth the money that it would take to do it. So if there was, and then they asked about device blocking. So I'm like, yeah.
Wow.
I don't do that either. And then I just explained to him again. I'm like, look, this all happens over an RSS feed. I mean, people come to the website, and there might be ways to do it on there.
Mm-hmm.
If it's standard practice, I wouldn't be shocked if there's some WordPress plugin that'll let you do something like it. But I was like, most people are listening on their phone in the car, or on their mobile device somewhere. And so yeah, anyway. And they're asking for numbers. They asked for the numbers for comparable website, and I'm just like, it's like, podcast numbers or podcast download numbers really aren't publicized by most people.
Right.
Because like I've talked to people, I said that the top podcasts that I talk to that are aimed at programmers generally get 3,000-4,000 downloads per episode. I said the majority of them get 1,000 or less.
Right.
So, anyway. So it's kind of frustrating getting all that lined up. I've got enough in the bank to, pay a couple more of the business expenses that I know are coming up. But anyway, I got to get something else to drop. I'm going to start doing the Angular Dev Summit marketing tomorrow or Monday. See if I can get some of those sales to go through. I'm trying to decide if it's a mistake to open it up for free or not to watch live. But
have you tried that yet?
No.
Okay.
So I'm doing that on Angular and on Ruby, and then I'm doing React Remote Conf, I've decided, in November. And I'm doing it the old style, remote conference. I've already got people buying tickets for that, and I haven't marketed it, and I don't have any speakers announced yet.
Nice. Well, I mean, with where you are, I would say that's a risk, and so it would probably be better I wouldn't experiment at this point. Like a few $1,000s at this point makes a difference. So
that's true, but
if you
I've
know,
already told people it's free and things like that.
okay,
So
okay,
I don't think I can change it.
okay, all right.
So I'm just hoping to get some sales on the other end. But
Can you offer some upgrades to the people that do want to buy a ticket? Give them something special, something more, access to something?
yeah, what I'm probably going to do is I've been playing a lot with Angular 2 lately. And so what I think I'm going to offer them is I think I'm just going to offer them. So they already get bonuses if they buy a paid ticket. Like they get the Slack room with all the speakers, and they get access to the recordings after the fact, which is worth it to some people already.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm probably going to throw in a video of me building an application with Angular 4
Mm-hmm.
from scratch.
So there's a lot of upsell to do then. So if you've already been telling people that you can attend free to the live event, just make sure you're capturing email addresses so you can put them in your list. And
That's the plan.
And then I think you might kind of be on the hook to do that, although you could probably get out of it if you needed to from a monetary perspective.
Yeah.
I think there's enough value in the buying the videos, getting the Slack, all that other kind of stuff. A lot of people are going to want those videos because they won't be able to attend the live event.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is that so I'm following a template that Josh sent me, and so essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to get an email that says, "Hey, thanks for signing up." And then a day or two later, they're going to get an upsell email that basically says, we have a Slack room, and you'll be able to download the videos, and you just have to get an all access pass ticket.
Right.
Yep.
And then it'll just bug them periodically until the conference. Hey, here's some of the speakers. Here's some of the topics that are going to be covered. If you don't want to miss these talks, then you may need an all access pass, because if you can't make it live, you're going to miss it. And then, and so I can kind of twist that a little bit, right?
Right.
Because we have like 1 or 2 talks on WebVR. We've got 1 or 2 talks on other things with Angular, different aspects, all the way from testing front to back to other things. So anyway, and then I'm also going to hit it really hard on the email list right before the conference, because the conference starts on Monday morning, Monday the 11th of September at like 8 a.m. And so it's going to bug them, like Thursday, Friday, and probably Monday morning, and just say, look, the price is going up at 8 o'clock in the morning on Monday.
Yeah.
And it's going to double. So if you're even considering getting an all access pass, you may as well buy it now. It's going to cost you twice as much.
Well,
Start
you're also
that
gonna
sequence the week before. Like if the price is going up Monday morning, start that sequence the Monday before.
Right.
Yeah, I'd say don't.
I can do that.
Weekend issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, so then I can push that and get people to sign up, and then they'll also get pushed some emails during the conference. So there will be a report from each day. Hey, here were all the talks. Here are all the things that we did. If you missed any of these talks and you want to get access to the videos, you may want an all-access pass. But mostly it'll just be kind of a report on what went on during the conference. And then halfway through the conference, I'm going to double the price again. And so I'm going to add some urgency there and just say, look, if you don't buy by Wednesday afternoon, the price is going to go up again. So if you missed out, I don't know if I'm going to call out if you missed out on the pricing before, the price hike before, but I'm just going to be like, look, it's going to cost you an extra $200 if you don't buy it now.
Yep.
So that's kind of the approach that I'm going to take. And then I do have a few companies that are due to renew in September. So that should work out. And I've got a whole handful of companies that are also interested in sponsoring in a couple of different places that I've just got to get to land. But I had 2 sponsorship calls yesterday, and they both postponed to next week because they had things come up. And so that doesn't really help me out this week at all. So anyway, it's just funny how when you're in this position, Murphy just moves on in. And
Yeah. So Chuck, question. What can you, like, have you given much thought, or what can you do? What's your plan so that you're not in this position again? Like, what needs to happen?
So I've got a couple of different things. I mean, ultimately, I kind of had a plan before, but the plan involves getting enough money in to put some away, right?
Right.
And so the plan right now, I just finished reading the book Profit First.
Okay.
And so there are a couple of things that they tell you to do. One is to take profit out first. That's why they call it Profit First.
Mm-hmm.
And so essentially, but the way they explain it is essentially that you run the business by making your sales, and then whatever expenses you have, you pay, and then the rest is profit. And that makes sense. But what he tells you to do is you make your sales, you take the profit out, and then whatever you have left is what you can spend on expenses. And so that way what happens is then you're able to set money aside for a rainy day or for investments in the business or whatever up front. And he's like, most people, is it Parkinson's law, where your expenses will grow to fit whatever cash you have?
Yeah.
So he pointed that out, and it makes sense, and that's the way I've done it. And he has a term, bank balance accounting, where you look at your bank balance, you see there's money in there, so you pay your bills.
Right.
That's pretty much what I do.
He's like, that's pretty much what I've done too. And he says, look, he's like, if you talk to your accountant, they're going to discourage that. He's like, what we want to do is we want to encourage that. He's like, but we just want to encourage it in a smart way. So if you pull the profit out first, and then you set the money aside for taxes and things like that, so you basically put it all into buckets, and it's kind of like Josh's system with all the different accounts for all the different expenses. He tells you to set up 5 accounts, and then you essentially, when you get paid, you move the money into the income account, and then out of the income account, you move it into taxes and profits and things like that. And he actually tells you to put the profit account and the tax account at another bank where you can't easily access it.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of the day, you just write a big fat check to Uncle Sam, and then if there's money left over in that tax account, then you can pull it back over and do whatever you're going to do with it, give yourself a bonus or whatever.
Okay.
Or into your profit account. But anyway, so he has people do this for their business. And it makes a ton of sense because then what you do is you look at your account and it's like, okay, operational expenses has $5,000 in it. So yeah, I'm going to pay the bills.
Yeah.
But you know that that's how much money you have to pay the bills. And so you pay the important ones first if you only have $300 in there.
Mm-hmm.
And, and so then you get by, you cut back, you make sure that you're within whatever margin you need. The other thing is, though, is that I'm kind of tempted with this system. I don't want to complicate it too much, just because if I complicate it, then I won't stick with it. But I'm kind of tempted also if I get like a big check. So Hired.com tends to like to sponsor a quarter or more at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And last time they paid for 6 months. I think this time they might actually pay for a year on some of the shows.
Wow.
And so, because I opened it up as an option, they've been asking for that forever. And so if I get a year's worth of money, then what I may do is I may actually put all that money into the income account. And then, the deal is that I can only pull so much of that money out every month.
Right.
And so then I allocate it every month, and that way I'm not getting myself into this position.
Yeah, that you can.
I may allocate 3 months
that
at a time or something. Yeah.
Schedule that as an automatic transfer.
Yeah.
I have a friend here in Waco who ran a consulting business for years, and he very early on in that business, he set up an automatic monthly transfer to his personal account as his monthly salary. It was a reasonable amount. He made sure that he was getting more than enough in there. And for like 3 years, he didn't look at the actual balance that was sitting in his bank account. And then one day he decided to look at it because he needed to know if he could afford to do something big. And his mouth, jaw dropping, you won't believe what happened next kind of thing happened. He had an incredibly large amount of money sitting in the bank and realized that he didn't need to worry about finances for a long time.
Yep. Yeah, and that's kind of the approach that I'm looking at taking. So one of the accounts is owner's draws or owner's salary or whatever you want to call it. And so, yeah, you just set that aside and it comes out,
Yeah.
So as one of your expense accounts. So anyway, and then your bookkeeper and accountant can figure out what all of it means at taxes because they just, they just have 5 accounts that go into your QuickBooks or whatever instead of 1 or 2.
We actually have ourselves set up on payroll. Like John and I both get an actual paycheck processed by paychecks.com every month. And then that's kind of our base level. And then we pay ourselves like a bonus on top of that if there's money left over. But we have like a minimum. We both know that we have pretty much a guaranteed minimum that we're going to get every month.
Right. Yeah, and that makes sense. And that's something that I kind of like to get to. They allocate all of this stuff in Profit First by percentage. So it's a certain percentage that you, at least as a target, you pay yourself.
Yeah.
And then that's fine too, because if the business is doing well, then I get paid more, and if it's not, then I don't. But then I know I'm not bleeding it dry trying to pay all of my personal expenses and then buy myself whatever I think I want.
Right.
Oh,
I mean, I think with where you are now, like 10 or 20K would probably be all you'd need as or a good buffer to start. And I think like we actually got ourselves this month. So we actually we were a little bit worried that we were going to hit whether we could hit payroll last month. And John and I were laughing. We're like, okay, we have this book that's like the book hit number 6 on the Wall Street Journal bestsellers list. And like everything's going really well. All this money's coming in. And we're like, how are we not sure if we can meet payroll? And it's kind of like, that's kind of the rite of passage almost with a successful business. But it was mainly because John had an investment, a lump sum. Now I want a cappuccino. John had a lump sum investment still in the business that was not huge. But he pulled that out. Well, he had to pull out a big chunk of money because we were, with me coming on board as a part owner, he had to basically zero out all of our accounts. So we ended up in this really awkward situation where we had a bunch of bills related to producing the book. And then we had to hit payroll and also zero out the accounts and like get the timing on all this right. But yeah, I'm actually going to take a look at that book and maybe John and I could go through it together because I'd like to get, the one thing we don't have right now is I'd really like a budget. Like the question I kept having during our book launch was like, can we afford to spend any more money on advertising? Like how much money can we spend on advertising? And I just had no idea. We're in a good position because the business, our income is way above our expenses. Like it's a very profitable business. So we can kind of skate on that. But I would like to get to a point where we have like, every month we have we know like, okay, we could spend this much money on whatever, and it's not going to hurt us as far as meeting all of our obligations and everything. So I'm going to take a look at that book.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting way to approach things, and I'm kind of excited for it. And then, the other book that I read is Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, and that's kind of changing the way that I approach a lot of this stuff. But I think it's just change. It's going to take some time. I mean, I've got to turn some stuff around, and I'm thinking about things a little bit differently. But yeah. And then the other book that I read through again is The 12-Week Year. And so I'm just planning out the next 3 months to just figure out how to, make this hole go away. But yeah, $10,000 to $20,000 in my case would go a long way. It was funny because I hired a bookkeeper back in May, And we went through all the numbers for the business, and we came out to about $20,000 as the monthly expense for the business.
Oh yeah, perfect.
And it was $20,000 included my salary of $10,000.
Oh yeah,
But
nice.
I've cut things way back since then, and I'm kind of wondering now if that's an accurate number, or if I can get by on considerably less. Because,
Right.
like I said, I let Shandy go. I've cut a bunch of services that I wasn't using, and I'm kind of just operating on the bare minimum of what I need to keep things rolling. I cut my server hosting expense in half, and I could probably cut it down another 100 or 2 a month. So it's just stuff like that where it's like, oh yeah, I don't need to pay for that anymore, or
Right.
whatever. So yeah, but yeah, $20,000 would go a long way. I'm probably also going to record the videos and get the Kickstarters for the React and Elixir podcasts up, because every time I mention it to people, they go bananas. And so if I can get $10,000 off of each of those, even if it's in 30 days or 60 days, at least I have that money coming in, and I can do the same thing for showing Pluralsight what they missed by not giving me Ruby 5 and 5 minutes of JavaScript. And I'm definitely going to do that, and then just seeing where some of this other stuff goes.
Cool. Yeah,
yeah.
Our next priority is going to be to get 3 to 6 month emergency fund built, I think, for the business, so we don't have to ever worry about if our shopping cart software blows up or something, we don't have to worry about it for 2 weeks. So
yeah, that makes sense.
So I had an interesting week.
That's always good.
Yeah.
I like the way you said interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So here's the short version. Tuesday at around 1:30 p.m., I had a phone call with a guy in Canada, a guy that I've talked to before. He and I have talked about working together multiple times. He still wants to try and make that work. He had 3 things that were supposed to be hitting pretty soon, and we were, hopeful that he would be able to afford me on at least one of them. Tuesday afternoon, after that call, actually, let me back up first. Tuesday morning, I'm looking at my financial situation and saying, oh crap, how am I going to pay bills in September? I mean, literally, like my savings is almost gone. Watch Me Code is kind of sort of making it payable for my bills. I'm probably going to have to ask my wife to not pay off her credit cards. It's, this is getting really bad. So then Tuesday afternoon, that call happens. About an hour after that call, I get on another call with another potential client who basically spent 45 minutes asking me, when can you start? When can you start? When can you start? When can you start? Can you start tomorrow? Can you start today? When can you start? So Wednesday morning, I get a contract from that guy.
This is when you go, let's talk about my hourly rate.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. I quoted him my hourly rate, and he almost hung up.
Wow.
So it's not a good hourly rate, but I can't be picky right now. That's the thing. It's a good number of hours. It's probably close to 30 hours a week. Is what he wants me. He wants me to do as much as possible, and I told him, yeah, I can probably do 30 hours a week. So by Tuesday afternoon, after that second phone call, I went from earlier that morning, a few hours earlier, how am I going to pay the bills, to that afternoon, how am I going to get all this work done? Because, this one client suddenly hit. Wednesday morning, I got that contract from him and signed it, sent it back. Wednesday afternoon, the first guy that I talked to on Tuesday said, hey, this project landed. Can you are you still available? How did that other phone call go? Because I'm pretty open conversational relationship with that first guy that I've talked to. He and I have talked a number of times about financial situations, client situations, and things like that. So I had no issue sharing with him what was going on. So I had to say, yeah, I got that contract. I already signed it and sent it back, which he's excited about, but also wondering when I'll be available for him again. Wednesday all day I spent on site with my good friend and former coworker from my previous healthcare client that just dumped me. He and his business partners in the consulting group that we worked through for the healthcare company are wanting to self-fund, bootstrap the scheduling system that I built for the healthcare network as a product on its own, paying me a minimal hourly rate to get some features in place based on conversations that they've had with healthcare network people as well as educational institution people. I still have work left to do with my Manning course, which I've delivered all of the videos to them, but I have to get through the marketing effort and then get the inline code samples and things put in place, the errata for
the marketing stuff.
Changed.
That's easy.
Yeah, totally. You've got an extra hour to spare, Josh. I'll pay you an hour's worth of salary, and you can handle that for me. And then
they call that the other 90% of the work.
Exactly. Yeah. And then 40 minutes ago, an hour and 40 minutes ago, I started a conversation, and 40 minutes ago had a verbal agreement with a guy to prepay me for up to 10 hours worth of consulting for RabbitMQ stuff, starting probably the week after next. So
nice.
I quoted him my hourly rate of $150 based on the number of hours, the things that he wants and whatnot. Said I could do a prepay for up to 10 hours and make it $125 an hour. He literally didn't blink. He just said, okay, that sounds great. Exactly. I'm like, damn it, I should have said 200. Here I was gun shy because the client that I signed on Wednesday was like, holy crap, dude, I got to come down 25 off of what you're asking, which sucks. But it's still work, and it's not the worst hourly rate I've ever made. From that to the guy that literally said okay at the first drop of a number and wants to prepay the 10 hours, the up to 10 hours at that. And then, a standard hourly rate after that with, 2-hour minimum for after-hour support calls, which he doesn't think they'll need, and I doubt he will, just based on the quality of conversation that we had. So, hopefully in the next week or so, I will have $1,250 check from this guy coming in to put onto my credit cards, and then with the hours that I'm starting to get in for this new client, it's definitely going to be a challenge to get in the number of hours that I need in order to really bump my income up to double my income and triple my income from where Watch Me Code is putting me right now. But I feel like there's light at the end of the tunnel for my financial woes, which is a very good thing.
Yay!
So one thought on the bootstrapping, like that software idea sounds really interesting. You might consider though, like trying to force their hand a little bit and say, look, you guys need to pre-sell this. Like, do you have a whole?
They're already doing that.
Okay, so do they have money in hand though? Have they gotten money in hand?
They don't have money in hand yet, but they are actively trying to sell it. They have had multiple meetings with very large healthcare software providers, as well as education institutes who desperately need what we have built. They spoke with the sales guy for a tool in the same general marketplace at a high level, but very focused on mid-range computing systems, AS400s and the like.
State-of-the-art stuff.
Dealing with Unix and stuff. So that guy's target market is different than ours. But the guy, that sales guy, was basically drooling all over what we've built, saying, "Wow, this is amazing! I can't believe you have this feature. We've been trying to do that forever." And oh, I really love the way you did this. And you know, he had a lot of suggestions for things that his clientele see as critical, which would be very much in line with what our clientele would need. And there's just a bunch of stuff that we know we need to get in there anyways. There's stuff that our healthcare network client needs because the guys that I work with in this consulting group need it. But the healthcare client is basically saying, we don't have any money for you. So they're going to be funding me to put in a few of these things that they need, which would become features for other clients, and all that kind of stuff. So they are actively looking. They need the stuff themselves. That, you know, it's generally a good situation for the product. It's a terrible, absolutely abysmal hourly rate because it really is all four of us contributing to the development of this. They would be contributing a small hourly rate each. I would be contributing my time.
Do you have equity?
Yes, I would have 25% equity. Okay. All four of us would have 25% equity.
Yeah, this is a pretty big lottery ticket.
Yeah.
But it's a lottery ticket, you know. Right. Like the main problem I see is the business side of these things is always where the wheels come off.
Yeah.
So if they can't make that work, and that's out of your control.
Which they know it.
Yeah.
You know, these are to put it in perspective. These three guys are literally the top in the industry for healthcare network financial data warehousing. They have there's 5.
Are any of them marketing or sales people?
No, that's the problem.
Yes,
but there are 5 major healthcare MHR, medical health record providers in the U.S. 4 out of 5 of them call these guys whenever they have a question. The other company, the 5th one, literally will not talk to anyone for any reason ever. They are just absolute black box stupid.
Is it HealthTrack?
No, it's not.
Okay. Is HealthTrack one of them?
No.
Okay. All right. Because I worked on a system like a patient portal type of system when I was at my job before Trackabout, and it was so unbelievably horrible. Like the I don't know if I talked about this before, but the HTML was all I was reskinning the application and I could not edit the HTML because it was compiled into ASP.NET like components basically. I don't know. I think
DLL,
it was I think they were DLLs. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, it was a DLL. And so I had to, and it was horrible table-based layout, you know, spaghetti code.
Right.
So I was hacking the website with JavaScript, like literally adding CSS classes on the fly so that I could style things, and then they'd publish a release and everything would break because they changed the HTML and I have no control over it. Oh my gosh, that was like three or four of the most painful months of my life.
Yeah. No, these are companies like McKesson, Cerner.
Oh, okay.
3M.
Okay, my wife used to work for McKesson actually.
Yeah, very, very, very large MHR organizations like the
Doesn't GE have one?
Yeah, GE as well.
Okay.
And then the big giant pile of garbage company out there is called Epic, and they are an epic pile of garbage.
Yeah, that's what we used. That's what we used at UPMC. I also did some training, like some online training that I developed for them, and they are painful.
They are a dumpster fire. They have rules for which you can get fired as an employee of Epic. If anybody in the room ever discusses any other MHR system, you stand up and walk out the door immediately.
Oh, wow.
Not joking. I'm not joking. My coworkers have been in meetings with the healthcare organization down here where they're talking with Epic consultants, and as soon as they mentioned the name of one of the other products that they had previously used or were currently using, 9 out of 10 people from the Epic team got up and walked out the door. The 10th person was the only person that was allowed to be in the conversation.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
It's a dumpster.
Well, glad things are looking up, because out here it's Murphy for president.
Yeah,
Murphy for Congress. I swear.
Right. I've been living that for the last several months. You know, so it's been incredibly crazy at this time last week, you know, just after our call last week, I sent out a single tweet. Hey, I'm looking for 30 plus hours a week, you know, contract around Node.js, Express.js, Docker. Hit me up. Yeah, I've sent out a dozen of those tweets in the last 3 or 4 months, and I have had hundreds of retweets and faves, but never anybody actually reach out to me. Had 4 people respond directly to that tweet through DMs or emails.
Nice.
One of which turned into a client, 2 of which turned into very basic conversations. And then randomly, this third guy over the week, emails, and then this morning came in through my RabbitMQ email course, and you know is going to be paying me a fair amount of money for consulting work for that. Which, so yeah, it's from dry desert to a flood of work, and my anxiety is shifting from am I going to pay the bills next week to am I going to be able to get my work done?
Yeah, I'm kind of at this point thinking that I might try and pick up a 10 to 20 hour a week contract for a little while.
Yeah,
because I don't want to, but I don't really know what else to do. So.
I don't have a choice. I mean, I literally don't have a choice at this point, you know.
Yeah, I don't know if I do either. I mean, if I land a contract or a sponsor, that changes the conversation. But right now,
I mean, I'm basking in the glory that is the recovery of letting my business die due to massive depression spell. So it's a little different with me. It's like, yeah, okay, this client that I signed with on Wednesday offered me 25% less than what I wanted on my hourly rate, and I said yes because I don't really have the choice right now. It's not an option for me to say no when somebody is asking me when can you start. So on that front, since I kind of segued into that, I upped my medication dosage this week after talking with my doctor, and so I'm starting to see a little bit more improvement in my general mood throughout the day because of that. But I'm also seeing some minor versions of the same side effects that I went through when I first started the medication, which is frustrating because now I feel like I'm constantly, feeling sick, anxiety, stomach-wise. But, I have to keep telling myself, no, I'm not actually stressed about everything that's going on. Yeah, it is a little bit stressful, but this isn't really anxiety. I'm just getting over the medication bump and things like that. But I spent all day on site at my friend's house working on that product, the healthcare scheduling product, getting his wife up to speed on the code and getting her to make her first commit for a bug fix and all that kind of stuff. She's a developer as well. And we've been wanting to get her up to speed on this for a long time just so we can have a second pair of eyes on it and so she can contribute and whatnot. And Wednesday for me was like the first day in months. I can't even remember how long, where by the end of the day, I was mentally exhausted due to actual exercise of my brain, thinking and working and doing, putting in a full day worth of work instead of just being mentally exhausted due to medication or depression or whatever else. So, definitely good things happening this week for me on all fronts. I did have a minor episode yesterday where I kind of blew up at my wife over a total non-issue and realized afterwards, that was totally not what I should have done, not what I meant to do. I probably am still feeling some of the side effects with the anxiety and the energy levels and stuff of the medication. Still not 100% recovered from all of this, but I'm at the point now where I'm looking at a 30-hour work week next week, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to get it done, and I'm going to do a good job, and it's going to be a good thing.
Nice.
Yep.
Watch Me Code is definitely going on the back burner again, which sucks. Yeah. A lot of people are asking, and I'm honestly ignoring most of the people that are asking, just because that's what I need to do right now. I talk about this stuff on this show a lot. I tweet every now and then about how I'm doing, and 9 out of 10 responses that I get, I completely ignore them because I'm not talking about these things to make myself feel good and to get a pat on the back for taking care of myself.
Right.
I'm talking about these things because I think other people that are facing similar situations need to hear it, need to know that they're not alone and they're not the only ones that deal with this stuff, and that it can get better and you can work through it, even if it means letting your business fall apart, letting whatever it is in your life fall apart for a while so that you can get yourself taken care of like I've done.
Yeah.
That's about it for me.
Well, we have John's been like offline. I've been going crazy this week because John's been offline, and he's in Helsinki right now, and he's like last week he was coming on in his evening, which was my morning, and so I'd at least hear from him a little bit. We could chat and stuff, and this week it's just been me working by myself all week, and it's pretty boring. And I'm getting to the point like today, I think I haven't done anything today other than tell other people what to do.
Yeah.
I'm like officially a manager here. Yeah, like
Congratulations, you've been promoted, I think.
Yeah, I know.
Congratulations, you've been demoted.
I've been like coordinating with like 4 or 5 different contractors. Oh my gosh, yesterday I spent 90 minutes in bureaucratic hell trying. So normally John handles all this stuff because he's got more financial and legal background than I do. But we're trying to figure out if we have to pay workman's comp for me and John, right? Just in case, I don't know, my 3-year-old, kneecaps me or something while I'm standing at my desk and I can't work anymore.
3-year-olds do that.
Yeah. So I spent 90 minutes calling around the state of California. No one could answer this question. It was the most ridiculous thing, and they kept transferring me. Like you call the bureau, like the Division of Workmen's Comp or Workers' Compensation. You'd think that they could tell you this, right?
Nope. You want to know why?
Why?
Because if they answer the question for you, they are legally bound and responsible for your decision.
That's basically what. Yeah, that's everybody.
No, that is literally why you're asking the wrong people. You need to ask a small business lawyer who will give you the best advice to his, the advice that is the best to the best of his knowledge. And you need to have that lawyer, whoever your small business lawyer is that is on retainer for you. you need to have that person answer the question for you, because that is the person that will defend you in court, and that is the person that will have the justification for why the decision was made.
Yeah, you're right. So where I ended up, I ended up talking to about 8 different people, and well, it was funny because they didn't even understand. Like, they couldn't even tell me. It wasn't that they were being evasive. They were like, "Oh yeah, we don't handle that. I can tell you where you need to go. You need to go to this other department." And so I would go there, and they were like, "This is the court of adjudication. Why are you calling us?"
Right.
And I'm like, "Oh, let me tell you." And then I'd go through all the places that I'd called, and usually everyone was telling me that I needed to call the person that I called right before them, pretty much. So, but finally, yeah, there's the last person that I contacted was a lawyer that the state actually, the state of California, like, appointed to handle questions about this. So I think that will probably be, hopefully we'll get, basically John just needs to sign something and send it in.
Right.
And say that we don't want it. But you know, it was, oh my gosh, 90 minutes of my life I will never get back. And I was expecting that from Pennsylvania, but they were like, that was the easiest thing. I called my first call. They were like, "Oh yeah, I'll tell you who you need to talk to." They transferred me. He's like, "Oh yeah, you guys don't need it. Here's why." And he sent me some documentation on it, and I was done. I was like, "Oh, okay." But yeah, so this is pretty much how my whole week has been. It's just dealing with that kind of stuff. Normally John handles that. He spent probably way more time than that the other week dealing with Pennsylvania tax issues. So
plus, I have to say, him telling this story would have been a lot more entertaining.
Yeah, that's true.
He would have told us all about the big, the this, the that, the stupid, and then.
Yeah. So what else? We got, I'm working on getting us off of Zaxa and switching over. So we've been test driving Thrivecart.com, which is
it's to Thrive Leads.
What's that? No, they're not. And that's what's so funny, because we'd actually told Thrive, like, we'd tried to rattle Thrive Leads case about getting a shopping cart put together, because we really wanted them to develop one, and they just didn't move on it. And then somebody else, literally, I don't know how they are doing this, but they're calling it Thrivecart. But it's really good. We got the tip on it from Rob Connery.
Yep.
And I'm really liking it. It does upsells. It does the upsells exactly the way I want them, with the one-time offer pages, where you can send them back to your website, to show them whatever page you want. And then, but it also offers you that the in-cart, when you go to checkout, you have this in-cart. It's called a bump, and you can just put like a low-dollar ticket product there. And so what I did for the book is we have this free bonus that you get with the book that we're valuing at $175, and I'm actually making people go through the checkout process when they get the download, so they don't just enter their email address. They're actually going to a shopping cart,
right?
And then it has this in-cart bump. So if they check the box, credit card, the credit card fields appear and they can pay. And we take Apple Pay too. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
But we're getting like a 7.5 to 8% uptake on the $5.
Wow.
The $5 bump. So it's from $0, enter your email address, to $5, enter credit card information, and 8% of people are taking that. And that's just on the $5. So once I get, I need to get, the problem with this is there's no secure file delivery. So I have these files. They're just like literally just up on Amazon S3, and I need to get that squared away. What I want to do is get a membership site in place. So I'm pestering our grumpy server admin to set up a new site for us to host basically it's membership.simpleprogrammer.com to host the files. But once I get that, I'm gonna put some more upsells in place, and we'll probably get. I'm thinking it's gonna be like $2,500 to $3,000 a month in upsells on a free, just on like a free offer, basically a lead magnet. Yeah, so that'll be pretty cool. But I'm thinking what I'm gonna do is MemberPress and use that mainly to control the access levels, like the accounts, and what and then use initially I think I'm just going to use like I found this S3 Media Maestro plugin.
Yeah, I used that for a long time.
Okay. I'm thinking I might use that and just throw the files up on Amazon S3 and stick download links on a page, and that'll be like the course for now, because that's really all Zaxxa's giving us.
Yeah.
So
MemberPress has a plugin that does the Amazon download links too.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's just part of the when you buy the.
No, you have to install it. It's an extra plugin, but you get it for free if you bought MemberPress.
Yeah, Easy Digital Downloads also has one, which is what I'm using now for my downloads. For my streaming, I use my own media service, which runs off of Amazon S3. But prior to having my own media service that I built, I used S3 Media Maestro. It worked really well. I really liked it.
Okay, and that does streaming too, right? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah. It does the streaming and the download link.
So we're gonna do. So I think what I'm gonna do is first pass at this will be just because it's gonna be a lot of work to get this set up, because I have to get the membership site set up itself, just the site, the WordPress site, and then install MemberPress, get comfortable with that. But then there's not really a good way to integrate with Thrivecart. They don't have native integration with MemberPress. So I think what I'm hoping I'll be able to use Zapier. So Thrivecart supports Zapier. MemberPress seems to support Zapier. So I'm hoping, okay, great. I'm hoping I'll be able to get that working in a kind of a seamless way where it creates the account when they check out, and then basically just dump all the first pass is just dump all the download links on one page, and then I'm going to go back and actually take the video courses and probably hire someone to go through and like set them up for streaming, because we get pirated a lot. Like so that would help with that.
One thing you probably would want to use the MemberPress plugin if it does support streaming and downloads. One thing that annoyed me about S3 Media Maestro, as soon as you load the page that has the download link and the streaming video on it, the timer starts ticking for you to actually use that link.
Right.
With S3, there's always a time limit that you set for any given URL, any secure URL. That way you can't copy and share it forever unless you set an unlimited time limit. But typically, I had to set like a 3-hour time limit on my S3 Media Maestro. Otherwise, people would end up sitting on the page for a few minutes, watch half of the video, and then hit the download link, and the download link wouldn't work because the signed URL had timed out already.
Okay.
So that's one annoyance. That was one of the big reasons that I stopped using Media Maestro, is because I wanted to give people a URL that would work whether or not they've been sitting on the page for 3 hours. So when people hit my media service checks to see if they have permission. And then if it does, it creates a brand new secure URL for Amazon with the time limit set to only a few minutes so that they can start downloading it right away.
Okay. So does the MemberPress, you don't know if it works?
Yeah, I have no idea what MemberPress does.
So basically your media server is dynamically regenerating URLs on the fly.
Right.
So you're proxying the request, and then that makes sense. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll probably
I'm wondering
have the problem that you did.
Which it's not a huge problem. It gets annoying, but it's a good place to start. Use that first. Do whatever comes out of the box first, and then figure out if you really need to and want to change it later.
Okay. What were you saying, Chuck?
No, this just gives me a whole bunch of ideas because I do have like old conference videos and things like that. And yeah, it'd be interesting to sign them up, have people sign up for a free membership to watch them all, and then upsell them at that point, things like that, like what you were talking about here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, okay, that's helpful. Thanks, guys. I'll have to.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to getting this set up because we've wanted to do this for the longest time, and so I think what I'll probably do then eventually is use something like I was looking at WP Courseware, which I think is by the same people that did the S3 Media Maestro.
Yeah.
And they let you do like actual online digital courses with the video and quizzes if you want and that sort of thing. So eventually I want to get there, but the first step is just get everything out of Zaxa onto some kind of membership site that we own.
Yeah.
Versus, and that'll actually, it should save us a lot of hassle because we have a lot of customer support issues with Zaxa. And it's every time it's a minimum 24-hour turnaround with them because they're in like Sri Lanka or something.
One question about MemberPress for either or both of you. Does it support the idea of giving people access to a product instead of access levels? Like if you pay for Screencast X, you can assign somebody permissions to only get Screencast X.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
It's on a per page or per post.
You can use tags. There's like a lot of different ways to control access. You could use tags.
Yeah.
On a page. That's why I feel like it's not I feel like it's not for what we want to do. It's not a complete solution because I want to have.
Yeah.
I want to have I think having the courses, like I don't want to have to manually build a bunch of WordPress pages for these courses. And I think WP WP Courseware or something like that will make it easier. And then like MemberPress, I'll just use that to control access to which courses you have.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing that I'm finding with MemberPress though is that, I would like to have like a shopping cart so people can go and pick the ones that they want.
Right.
And with MemberPress, you have to go and sign up for each membership level.
Right.
And so
this is the advantage of easy digital downloads. It's very easy to write code to give somebody access to a particular course. So on Watch Me Code, you can go buy my most recent webinar, the ES7 and Beyond with Docker. If you buy the webinar, you can go to after you get through the sales page and the checkout page, you can go download your files and watch them wherever you want, or you can go to the screencast page on the website and watch it. You are given permission to watch that video because you bought it through Easy Digital Downloads. Yeah,
MemberPress kind of does the same thing.
But I know I do it based on the product itself, not based on the page, not based on a tag or anything. This is the product you bought, and I have a check that says if you own this product, you get to watch this video.
Yeah, the way that it works is you set up a membership, and then people buy the membership, and then you assign the membership to give people access to certain things.
Right.
And so on a certain page or post or collection of pages or tags or whatever, you say these memberships have access to these.
Right. Which that can work in a case like where you're selling courses. But if you're selling individual products, that gets really tedious. It becomes a maintenance nightmare over the long term. Versus with something like EDD, I set up the code. I wrote the code once, and I can literally add an unlimited number of products without ever having to add a new membership level and assign new rights to this and new rights to that.
Right.
I just go add the product. People buy it, and they can instantly watch it.
Right.
We are running over, so we should probably do thoughts.
We are over, yeah.
I guess my thought for the week will be careful what you wish for. You just might get it.
Well, my thought is mostly just it ain't over till it's over. Murphy for Congress. Oh wait, we got a whole bunch of Murphys in Congress already.
I think our congressman either is or was Tim Murphy.
Oh really?
So, yeah, they redistricted. So I'm not sure if he's still our guy, but I don't really have anything, so I'm just gonna pass this week. Kind of end on a downer there.
Just like a manager.
Yeah.
The buck stops with that guy over there.
That's right.
Way to delegate.
I guess, well, one thing I'll say, so, you know, in kind of on that management vein, it's really important to share, like, when something that somebody does well, you know, if somebody does a really good job for you, let them know. Like I just was talking today to our designer, the lady who designed the book. Her name's Sam. She's from the UK, and she was, you know, she really, like, she took this project on. She was in the middle of moving, and she basically was like, I don't know if I can hit your deadline. And I was basically twisting her arm to get her to commit to the Kindle deadline that we needed and everything to launch the book. And she came through. She got it all done. The book looks fantastic. Like, it looks better, way better than Soft Skills. I told my wife, I said, like, look at these, and she's like, I was like, which of these looks self-published? And she's like, the soft skills one is, like, you know, so much, the quality is so much lower, and it just so the book looks fantastic. And so I shipped her a copy of it, and she got it, and she was so happy. And I just told her how much we appreciated what she did, and it was like made her day. And she wants to use this for a testimonial on her website and everything. So, like, that's the two things I found working with freelancers and contractors are, like, be crystal clear. You want to, like, you have to really give them all the information that you would want to have if you were the one doing the job. Mm-hmm. And then, the responsibility is yours when things go wrong, and it's theirs when it goes right. So, and
the window and the mirror.
Yep. Like, following those three guidelines is every freelancer that I've worked with has had a good experience pretty much with us. So, that's my thought, I guess.
All right.
All righty. See you guys next week. Maybe we'll have John.
Maybe.
All right. Out.
See you guys.